It was a cool evening at your future academy, a boarding school in eastern part of Africa. The students were preparing for evening prep, but Bisi Adeola had other plans. Bisi, a 16-year-old SS2 student, was known among her close friends, Amaka, Tolu, for sneaking out of school to meet her boyfriend, Chinedu. Chinedu was a handsome young man in his late 20s who lived in a nearby town. Bisi had met him during the holidays and had been sneaking out ever since school resumed. He always bought her gifts and treated her like a queen. Little did she know his intention is far from genuine. Bisi had mastered the act of sneaking out through a broken section of the school wall near the dining hall. She would pack casual clothes and shoes into her school bag, change her dress in the bush, and walk confidently to the main road, where Chinedu would be waiting for her in his car. Amaka and Tolu would keep watching for her, but they never joined her on her dangerous escape. One Friday evening, after evening prep, Bisi packed her clothes into her bag as usual. She whispered to Adama and Tolu, "Cover for me, I to be back before light out." "Bisi, are you sure about this? Chinedu does not feel right," Amaka said with concern. "Please, nothing will happen. He loves me," Bisi replied confidently. Slipping through the hole in the wall, Chinedu was waiting at their usual spot. He smiled as she approached. "My queen, I have mixed you," he said. Opening the car door for her, Bisi felt special, like she was living a fairy tale. This time, Chinedu suggested they go to his house instead of their usual restaurant. "I have a surprise for you," he said. Bisi hesitated, but eventually agreed, ignoring the voice in her head, warning her to be conscious. Amaka and Tolu waited nervously in the dome. Hours passed, but Bisi did not return. They started to worry and decided to inform their dome mistress. "Ma, we need to tell you something about Bisi," Amaka began, tears in her eyes. The dome mistress was shocked. "What? Bisi sneak out of school?" she exclaimed. She quickly informed the school principal, who immediately called Bisi's parents. Bisi's mother, Mrs. Adeola, arrived at the school early the next morning. She was devastated and furious. "Where is my daughter?" she cried. Meanwhile, Bisi was in grave danger. When they reached Chinedu's house, she noticed several strange items: red candle, white clothes, and a large clay of pot. Fear gripped her heart as Chinedu demanded change. "What is going on?" she asked, her voice trembling. Chinedu smiled. "You've been very useful to me, Bisi. Well, this is the end of the road for you." Bisi frozen in fear as Chinedu's words sank in. She tried to stand, but her leg felt weak. "What do you mean, Chinedu? I thought you loved me," she cried, her voice shaking. Chinedu laughed coldly. "Love? You are just a tool for my plans. Do you think all the gifts I gave you came for free?" He clapped his hands, and two strange-looking men entered the room. Bisi screamed, but one of the men quickly covered her mouth with a handkerchief soaked in a strange substance. Her vision blew, and she felt herself losing consciousness. The last thing she saw was Chinedu's wicked grin before everything went dark. Back at the school, the principal and Bisi's parents were in a meeting with Amaka and Tolu. The girls explained everything: how Bisi had been sneaking out to meet Chinedu and how they had warned her, but she refused to listen. Mrs. Adeola was inconsolable. My daughter sneaking out? How did we not know about this? She sobered. The principal immediately contacted the police, providing details of Bisi movement and description of Chinedu based on what Amaka and Tolu knew. The police launched an investigation and a search began. When Bisi woke up, she was in a dimly lit room with red markings on the walls. Her hand and feet were tied, and she could hear faint chanting coming from another room. Panic set in as she realized she was in a ritualist den. God, please help me, she prayed, tears streaming down her face. She struggled against the ropes, but they were too tight. Just then, the chanting stopped, and the door opened. Chinedu walked in, holding a knife. "It is time," he said coldly. Bisi screamed again, but her cry only echoed in the empty room. Suddenly, loud banging sound came from outside. Voices shouted, "Police, open up!" Chinedu's face twisted in anger. "Who betrayed me?" he muttered, dropping the knife and running out of the room. The police had tricked Chinedu to his hideout after receiving a tip-off from a local informant. They stormed the house, arresting Chinedu and his accomplices. One of the officers found Bisi tied up and unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital immediately. At the hospital, Bisi's parents cried as they saw their daughter lying on the bed, pale and weak, but alive. "Thank God we found you," her mother whispered, holding her hands tightly. The principal visited with Amaka and Tolu. "Bisi, you were lucky this time. You must learn from this. Disobedient and bad company almost cost you your life," the principal said sternly. Bisi nodded weakly, tears in her eyes. "I am sorry, everyone. I have learned my lesson. I too never disobey again," she promised. But Chinedu's case was far from over. The police investigation revealed that he had been involved in several other ritual-related crimes. The story of Bisi near-death experience spread across the school and the community, serving as a warning to other young girls about the danger of disobedience and blind trust. What happened next remains uncertain. Will Bisi truly change her ways? Will justice be served for Chinedu's other victims? Only time will tell. If you want us to continue this story, please tell us in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.